clogged TV.
Beyond the policy.
As you saw on the screen there displayed are some fires that have been ravaging our towns here in the country. And this is mainly due to the fact that we are in the dry season, hence we are more prone to fires occurring in our vicinities and in our neighborhoods and even at various places. So everybody is quite vulnerable, and I hope that we are taking the necessary precautions. And that being said, here on the KOKO Digest Morning Show, we're going to be talking about the fires once again, as we did last week, Tuesday, with our fire service official in the person of Mr. Desmond Aka, and he's here again for us to talk about fires, preventative measures, some of the causes, and of course to answer your questions as well. So now if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions and submissions, please do well to send them to our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube, and also to our WhatsApp number, and I will be sure to read them all out loud for us to talk about and also answer these questions. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure to have you here once again.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's get straight into the conversation about the fires. Aside the fact that we are in the dry seasons, it seems as though there are specific places that seem to be attacked by these fires. What do you think accounts for that?
All right. So first of all, let me say a very good morning to your cherished viewers. The fires to us are not news. It's all boils down to the effect of the weather that we are experiencing now. And where these fires, if you look at where these fires are occurring, predominantly the commercial areas which have issues with lack of good housekeeping and then proper spacing when it comes to how these premises are structured. For instance, if you look at the markets, such as the Cantonment and the other markets which are being affected by these fires, these are predominantly wooden structures, and the stalls are closely knit to each other. So if there is a fire in one of the structures, because of proximity of each of the structures, it makes the fire spread so easily. These are places which are very difficult to assess, even if you want to manage the fire. Even bicycle cannot even go through it without some sort of difficulty.
Yeah.
So these are some of the challenges. And people are being negligent, they are being careless with how they handle naked light. So we are not surprised that when they close from work and they are supposed to, or they make certain refuse or rubbish, instead of them to dispose them properly, they tend to burn them close to these woods and then wooden structures. And these are highly susceptible materials or combustible materials, and they don't ensure that they extinguish the fires fully. And before long, these fires become big and then they spread. They also have issues with maintaining fire safety protocols. Hardly will you go to such a place and you will even see a single fire extinguisher. So they don't care about their own safety, irrespective of how long we have been engaging them on the need for them to also be responsible towards their own fire safety.
Okay, so in these recent times, we've had fires, I think the Kumasi Wood Market, and even just a few days ago, Akosombo Dam. Can you tell us a little bit about these fires?
All right. So with the Akosombo Dam, it occurred last Friday night. When we got the news, we had to dispatch our appliance at Pong.
Okay.
And then the surrounding, there's one fire station at Akosombo. So they had to go there. But when they realized that where the fire had started was very far from the dam, and that was a very difficult terrain to assess by a fire tender, they had to be strategic and lay closer to certain infrastructure, such as the premises of some of the management members of the dam.
Okay.
Because they anticipated that if the fire even could spread, it could gut these premises of such important personalities, and therefore they were able to do a lot of standby and then surveillance. But by Saturday 1 a.m., they had been able to extinguish the fire, which was on the hills, in such a way that nobody got hurt.
Okay.
And then no property too was affected. We are realizing that that is an annual ritual on that particular enclave. We are getting the news that there are a group of people who go for hunting. And anytime they get their game, they tend to be careless with the use of the light, the naked light that they use, and therefore it guts the place and it spreads around this time of the year. So the regional commander, in the person of ACFO 1 Efum, is up and running, and he has been able to contact the people who are responsible for the ritual game hunting there. And I believe that come next year, around this time, we'll not experience, because we are understanding that last year, around the same time, a similar incident happened. And then this year too, it has happened. So we are putting pragmatic measures in place just to engage them so as to be able to avoid such tendencies. So the news that broke out that the fire was near the dam, it was very far. And it was very difficult to assess. But as committed as we are, we're able to assess the terrain without a fire tender. We use fire beaters. We use, how do you call it, knapsack sprayers with water, and then we're able to deal with that particular fire that engulfed the hills of Akosombo. Then with the Kumasi Woodin market fire at Kwadaso, it happened somewhere 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Apparently, within 8 minutes, we were there. So the cliche that people call us and it takes us forever to get there has never been the case. In recent times, we've improved upon our communication. So every now and then, fires that were otherwise not reported to us are being reported to us. I remember a similar fire happened in Tamale, and within 7 minutes, we were there. The Makola fire, within 2 minutes, we were there. I think the Techima market too, yes, within a minute, we were there. Had it not been a swift response, these markets and these wooden, how do you call it, wood markets would have been gutted. The whole place would have been gutted by these hellish fires that occurred. But because of our intervention, so it all boils down to the fact that we need to be able to put our own safety into our own hands. Many a time, a lot of Ghanaians think that the fires are far away from them, and therefore they don't put in adequate measures to safeguard their property and even their own lives. So they would want to kind of do things that will lead to these fires, and at the end of the day, tend to blame the Ghana National Fire Service. But we are committed. We are ever ready. Our engines, quite some few months ago, it was reported in the news that about more than 50% of our fire trucks were out of commission. But because of the dedication and then the commitment on the part of our management, they've been able to repair and to commission about 85%. And now, even though they are aged, when we say they are aged, the least fire engine in terms of age is, let's say, we'll be doing 3 years. That will be the 2 hydraulic platforms and then the rapid intervention vehicle that we received quite some few years by the previous regime. The rest, the minimum is 15 years. The maximum is over 20 years. but we are managing them in such a way that as and when they break down, we try to bring them back into commission. The issue has to do with the fact that some of them, the faults with them are major.
Okay.
So we have to replace the whole engine, and they are very costly. For most of them they are minor, which has to do with brake, radiators, beacon lights, sirens, and some minor faults. So we would want to urge the Ghanaian people, people with the fire service at heart, corporate Ghana, that they should also adopt some of our fire stations and help with the maintenance of these fire engines, because if the fire engines are working, that is where, if there's any fire in a particular property within any part of Ghana, that is where we are going to respond, and we are going to be able to use the equipment or the machine to be able to fight the fire. So if we are thinking that it is the sole responsibility of government to equip us to bring back these faulty appliances, then we'll be shooting ourselves in the foot. Yeah. We should be citizens, but not spectators. I mean, it's high time we adopted. The issue is that elsewhere they do. Yeah. They do support their fire department. But in Ghana, the situation is opposite, and they always tend to blame us for their own negligence and then their own carelessness. So I think it is about high time we all put our houses in order to prevent these fires from occurring.
But based on what you said, someone might also ask that, doesn't the fire service have some sort of management body that oversees these things? Because I think in the corporate world, let's say your computer that you use at your desk, if it is outmoded and cannot run certain tasks that you have to undertake, you tell maybe the procurement officer, and then they write they do the necessary bureaucracy, and then you get a new computer. So isn't there something like that in the fire service? I'm just asking based on
that has always been the case.
Point of view.
You see, like I said earlier, government is well aware of our issues. We have tabled everything, even before the previous regime and the current regime as well. So the previous regime, we were to receive 3 packages, that is fire engines, PPEs, and other ancillary equipment from Europe, from Asia, and then North America. So it got to the value for money stage before they exited. So that package is still in the pipeline. But in as much as we want to wait on government to go through the various bureaucratic processes to get us these engines, we are passionately appealing to the good people of Ghana.
Yeah, to also
quite recently, a philanthropist known as Storms Memory, who is with the Royal Air Force in UK, was able to bring in a rapid intervention vehicle, which is currently being used in Techiman for managing bushfires. But during the recent Techiman market fire, that appliance was used to help douse the market fire. So even though it is purposely meant for bushfires, when it mattered the most, we had to deploy it to go and fight the market fires. Few years down the line, Menno Council in Germany, there's a community in Germany, they also came to our aid. There's a sister-sister relationship between Achuma Kwahoma district in Ashanti region and then the Menno Council in Germany. They also brought in a Benz fire truck, and that is now being used in Ashanti region, helping the people of Chadie and then the Achuma Kwahoma enclave. I also remember some few years down the line, Winneba Nanagati, I think he has some ties with the king of the Ifutu community or municipality. He was also able to bring a PS fire engine from Charlottesville in one of the states in the US. And that tender is now serving the people of Winneba and its surrounding communities. So if we can adapt, people are well connected. People know other people elsewhere in Europe, in North America, and even in the Far East, who are mostly so poised with standards. I mean, internationally, fire tenders are to be replaced every 5 years, but we have given ourselves 10 years. That is how come we are using fire engines which are way beyond 10 years and above. and we are still maintaining them. It tells you the kind of commitment that the Ghana National Fire Service is putting in place to be able to serve the good people of this country. But when we are overwhelmed, we need to let the government know. We need to let the good people that we serve know. That is why we are making this call. So it is not out of place that we are saying corporate Ghana should come to our aid. You know, our main responsibility is to churn out educational content or create awareness about fire, the dangers of fire, and the need for the public to help contribute to fire prevention. So we are logistically challenged. If, let's say, we want to do a very intensified public fire safety campaign, even around these ministries, it will take us not less than 3 months to be able to do that. But the department responsible for that kind of awareness creation has only one pickup vehicle for the entire Greater Accra region.
Wow, that's very scary.
How can we reach the unreached with the gospel according to fire safety? So we still need these utility vehicles, which, if they are mounted with PA systems, where we can do community dawn broadcasts, go to where we've not been for the past few months and so as to be able to engage. So now the strategy is that we are targeting the young ones. We are being to the schools, the first cycle schools, the second cycle schools. That is where we are targeting these young ones, because we believe that most of the adult population are so busy. But even they need to, because sometimes too, as adults, you're so busy with life that you become forgetful. So I think sometimes you finish cooking with maybe charcoal, and instead of sprinkling some water on the rest of the charcoal left, the lit ones, they leave it and then it catches onto something. So even the adults too might benefit. Or what do you think? Yes, but we want to catch the young ones catch early as possible, so that we can train them to be worthy fire safety ambassadors. So the strategy is that we are forming debating clubs. We are forming cadets, where we'll be able to impact them with the safety consciousness, so that they grow with it. They can also help their parents and even their guidance to come to terms with the fact that safety is a shared responsibility, and therefore they must play their part. All right. Thank you so much. Yes, it's getting very interesting and informative here with our Divisional Officer Grade 2, Mr. Desmond Aka, and he will be telling us some of the grievances of the Ghana National Fire Service, so that you watching, if you are touched, you can also provide some support. The little you can do, the most you can do for the National Fire Service here in Ghana. And please do well to send in your comments to our WhatsApp number displayed on your screens. When the phone lines are opened, I will alert you so that you can call and ask the fire service your burning questions, so once again, pun intended. And also to our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube, you can send your comments and we will read them out loud. You can send your questions there as well. So, on Thursday last week, we got a news bit that the Ghana National Fire Service, I think an official from the fire service was saying that they should halt the reconstruction of the Kantamanto market and rather have some conversation with the Ghana National Fire Service before proceeding. And it seems to have raised concerns among people, because I think when we were having the newspaper review, some of my colleagues were talking about proactivity, that we need to see the fire service doing something. And then we were also asking that what are going to be the conversations? What are they going to be able to do to help with this? And then also, while halting the, restructuring or reconstruction of the market, where are they also going to be in the meantime? Because this is a source of livelihood for people. So if you can help us with that bit of news. All right, thank you so much. I believe that when the fire occurred on the 2nd day of January, we were able to marshal the needed resources to kind of contain the fire. So after fire containment or fire management, what is now left is to be able to conduct our investigations. So in conducting investigation, the scene must be preserved. So ideally, that place should have been closed until we conclude our investigation. As I speak with you, we are almost on the verge of concluding our investigation. But before we could do that, the place was hijacked or reclaimed by the affected traders. You know, that place has an owner.
Yeah.
Every land space here belongs to somebody, especially if it's a market, then it means that it belongs to a local authority or an assembly.
Yeah.
And they have the sole responsibility to ensure that they put up the place in order that will guarantee the safety of its beneficiary.
Yeah.
So for a place like the Kantomanto market,
Yeah.
we need to be able to ensure that there is adequate means of escape. What do we mean by means of escape? There should be alleys. There should be escape routes. There should be widened escape routes such that emergency vehicles can access. But a place like Kantomanto, before it got bent, even a bicycle could not even access.
Yeah, so if you widen that place, wouldn't that become like you're reducing somebody's, square feet that they used to sell? If you widen, because if the road is made, maybe my shop is here, you've come into half of my shop trying to create a road.
Yes,
how would such an issue be addressed?
That is also necessary for us to be able to manage effectively future fire incidents or related emergency in that market space. So if the place is properly planned, that is why all those who may be affected by the extra lanes and then the alleys that we are creating will be catered for.
Okay.
So as it stands now, the Kantomanto fire is just a one-story kind of structure. It's just a single-story structure.
Yeah.
So if it is going to be properly planned, then we are going to consider more stories.
Okay.
So that it could cater for all the traders who are now plying their businesses there. So it is all about the local authorities, the leadership of the various trading associations there, cooperating with us. I understand there's a meeting going to take place at Greater Accra Regional Command, where they would be looking at all these things. That is why we did a press conference a few weeks back and then cautioned them not to continue with the construction, because if we allow them to do that, it means that we have not solved the problem. If it happens again, look at how the fire spread when we're looking at the footage. It was so easily able to spread through the entire market, and we lost virtually everything. We only succeeded in protecting the periphery structures, which were more or less like concrete blocks, and that is how come we're able to save those structures from burning. So not until these places like Kantomanto and other makeshift markets are constructed with modern kind of architecture, we are going to experience some of these fires. And as proactive as we have been, we have always been engaging stakeholders. Only if they will listen to us, we would be able to prevent some of these.
So we will continue this conversation right after this break. Please do well to call a friend, text a friend to join us on Facebook or YouTube or right on TV, and send in your comments and questions to our WhatsApp number. When the phone lines are open, I'll let you, or you can even just send them to our live stream on Facebook and YouTube. We will be right back. You're welcome back to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the KOKO Digest Morning Show, and we're having our main discussion on Ghana's rising fire disasters part 2 with Divisional Officer Grade 2 in the person of Mr. Desmond Aka, and we are discussing the issues around the fires that have been occurring in this dry season particularly. And also do well to send in your comments to our WhatsApp number displayed on your screens. When the phone lines are opened, I will will do well to also inform you so that you can call and ask your questions or give us your suggestions to the fire service. If you have any sponsorship deals you would like to also partake with them, please feel free to call us, and then we will link you up with the fire service personnel here with us. And also you can send your comments to our Facebook and YouTube live stream, and then also we will read them out loud. So yes, back to the conversation about the Kantamanto fires and then rebuilding the place. So I was also wondering, if they are to halt rebuilding, where do you think, or what are the alternative solutions for these people? Because like we said, this is a source of livelihood for some people, and they need to rebuild quickly to start, you know, getting some money back in. Maybe some people are even in debt. So in a situation like this where you want them to not put up their wooden structures, where can they go to start while they wait?
All right. So this one does not fall within our mandate, but to give a few suggestions, you know, these markets belong to the local authorities. And in times like this, I think stakeholders should have to sit and then judge as to how best they can help reduce the plight of these affected persons. So alternatively, they could look for nearby markets with space so that they could send some of them there or distribute them onto the various markets, depending on where the person lives. So such a time that the construction will be done with, the modern construction will be done with, where the needed safety considerations would be put in place in order to forestall these kind of devastating fires occurring in such an enclave. And then also the leadership of the various trading associations could also come together and then probably look at alternative kind of making a living. If they can do some investments in
other... These people have lost all their money.
Yes, but at least they have been supported in one way or the other. So if they can come together, invest their money in some other kind of business, so that in the meantime, whilst they wait for the rebuilding to actively take place, then they could also have some form of means to survive. So basically, this is what we would suggest. But if we are not bold enough to ensure that we construct this market into a modern facility, then we will be back to be talking about the same old things.
Okay. So we have a few questions here, but this question will not escape me. Okay, I think it has, but yes, what's the estimated time that the rebuilding, you know, the appropriate one with the safety measures inclusive would take? What's the estimated amount of time?
It depends on the funding.
Okay.
And then largely depends on the funding and then the extent of the structure.
Okay.
So if the funding is approved and it is there, and the materials for construction, and then the artisans or the workers, those who are going to do are all present, I think within a stipulated time, the shortest possible time. So roughly, if everything is intact, within 6 to a year, they should be able to done with the construction.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I see some viewers are calling the WhatsApp number. Please refrain from calling the WhatsApp number. When the phone lines are open, I will let you know so that you can call and ask your questions and share your suggestions as well. So please do not call the WhatsApp number. It is strictly for WhatsApp. I cannot pick up the call here, so please come on. Now, yes, we have 3 questions here. They seem like giving my interview questions, but so this one is from Madam Lucy Lai in the Bono region. She says, how equipped is the Ghana National Fire Service to respond to fire disasters, especially in the rural areas where access to firefighting resources may be limited?
Yes, I wouldn't say we are well equipped when it comes to responding to fires of whatever kind.
Yeah.
But in the rural setting, thankfully, as proactive as we have been, we've trained over 6,000 fire volunteers across Ghana. So in as much as we don't have the robust kind of equipment. We have some of these volunteers there who have been given the needed training to respond to these bushfires as and when they occur. And so when it happens, they would be able to move in. And because they have been working assiduously, that is why the SWAL government's Planting for Food and Jobs program succeeded, because we were there with the farm hands. We trained them as to how best they would incorporate best farming practices, including creating fire belts around their farms.
I remember that from primary school.
Around this time, so that even if there is a wildfire coming, because of the fire belt that they've created, it doesn't come to destroy. So that is why Ghana has not faced any serious food crisis since 1983.
Okay. So if I remember correctly, the fire belt is the heap of sand put around. I think it was something like a heap of sand put around where you'll be burning, something like that, right?
Not exactly. So with this one, you weed around your farm to the barest soil, so that there is no available fuel in between where you have weeded and your farm. So that even if there's a wildfire coming from elsewhere, when the flying embers or the glowing embers from the burning bush falls on the bare land, because there's nothing to support it to continue to burn, it will die out naturally. So it doesn't spread to affect your farm.
Okay. So the next question here is from Godfred Edem. He says, what support mechanisms are in place for victims of fire incidents, particularly traders who lose their livelihoods?
Yes, so it behoves on the traders themselves to be proactive. Some of them could engage in insurance packages so that they could transfer some of the risks. For instance, if there's a fire or flooding, some of the insurance packages would take care of that, so that after the incident, they could be they could apply for claims and then bounce back to business. That is why an organization such as the National Disaster for NADMO is also there to be able to provide them with some relief items. So ultimately, traders should, or people in general, should be able to transfer some of the risks by means of subscribing to other insurance packages, so as to be able to help them rebound. Even after major emergencies.
So I think your submission is similar to this next question from Creative Space. This one says, can the Ghana National Fire Service cooperate with insurance companies to provide insurance for the individuals and organizations?
You see, there is a law that mandates that every commercial premises should go in for a third-party liability kind of insurance. This insurance protects a third party accessing your premises on business or coming to do business with you. So if the person comes, probably there is a fall or there is an accident within your premises and the person is injured, you don't worry your head to take care of that person. If you have subscribed to that insurance, there's a percentage that goes to take care of the bills of that person, and therefore you don't have to worry yourself too much. So if somebody comes to your premises probably and then gets injured, that is where that insurance is activated and it takes care of that person. So that is where we have been doing some form of awareness, so that all commercial entities would imbibe or subscribe to that, so that if something like that happens, their burden is kind of
eased a little. Okay, so there's one more question here. It says there have been reports, this is from George Asari in Labadi. He says there have been reports of delays in responding to fire emergencies in the recent fires. What's being done to improve the response times and ensure that firefighters arrive at the scene promptly?
You see, I think in about roughly 3 years ago, we faced that kind of challenge. People were always accusing us of arriving late. Now, the challenge has to do with proximity. We are not everywhere in Ghana. And then, despite that, we are doing our best. Sometimes, the road leading to this emergency scenes are also bad, that ordinarily it reduces our a speed limit.
Yeah.
And therefore, you can't speed on a very bad, rough road.
Yeah. But the trucks are big. Wouldn't they be able to navigate?
No, they are big and they are carrying water. They are carrying other extinguishing medium. They are also carrying human beings.
Yeah.
So if you rush through, you you'll be involved in an accident. That's true. So it affects us. Sometimes too, if somebody gives us wrong address, somebody will just call you and tell you that, oh, when you reach the junction to this place, take left where there's a porridge seller there. Okay. So that day, maybe the porridge seller will not come. So when we get there,
you can't find the place.
Instead of the person giving us the GPS or any permanent landmark to that particular scene, they wouldn't do that, and that would affect our response time. So proximity has always been a challenge. And you know, some of our stations are taken care of 3 different jurisdictions. For instance, I was the commander for Kwabri East years back, and I was taking care of Afija Kwabri North, Afija Kwabri South, and then Kwabri East Municipal Assembly. Okay. Kwabri East is very huge. To talk about the other 2 districts that were, sometimes I could even go to Tafo Metro. I could even go into Swami. So it becomes very difficult when you are responding to fire emergencies, which are farther away from your station. Definitely, it will cause you to take a bit of time. That is where we have our challenges. So the solution to that is that the assemblies, which are the representative of government, should be able to build more fire stations closer to the communities. So, for instance, a place like where I used to be, if we have about 2 or 3 fire stations there, it will go a long way to reduce our response time. So, and the districts that do not have fire cover, there is a need for them to also build their own fire stations and have their fire truck so that if there is any emergency, they would respond. But in 2012, there was a survey done by Ghana Statistical Service that we're doing an average response time of 12 minutes. As at that time, we had fairly new fire engines in the system, and the distribution was so wide and far, such a way that the population as of 2012 has not also gotten to this level. Yeah. And then we were not having so much challenges with slum communities developing in our most capital cities, especially Accra, Kumasi, Takrady, and the other Tema and the other areas. So even as at that time, we're doing a response time of 12 minutes. Now, because of our improvement in our communications, and then the fact that we have made our emergency numbers more accessible, people are now calling us on any available emergency, being it flood, being it road crash, being it entrapment, whether somebody's leg has got stuck in a metal grating or concrete grating, whether people want to end their lives by climbing pylons and then masts and what have you. We've responded to rescue some of these, and we are now doing an average of 8 minutes. Okay. So I can give you certain incidents where we have even made in terms of our response, made less than 5 minutes. Last year, somewhere in Kaswa, there was this market involving the Kaswa market. We got there in less than 6 minutes. Ashama market was gutted somewhere last year or last 2 years, February thereabout. We got there in less than 2 minutes. In the recent Techiman market, 1 minute. Kantamanto, 2 minutes. The Kwadaso timber market fire last 2 weeks or so, we got there in 7 minutes. Tamale wooden timber market fire, we got there in less than 7 minutes. So it tells you that irrespective of our challenges, we are doing creditably well to respond to these emergencies. We are only found wanting in areas where we do not have our fire engines, and therefore we would have to rely on the nearest fire station, which will take a bit of time, sometimes beyond 10 minutes. And that is understandable. So if you want to be able to perform or respond within the international standard of 5 minutes, then it behoves on government, especially through the local assemblies, to build more fire stations. And as we wait on them to do that, somebody may have a property to spare. Somebody may have a land a traditional authority, a landowner, oh, I have this land, fire service, can you come and build fire station? We'll be glad. And then we'll activate the needed processes so as to be able to get a fire station. Once we are closer, it reduces our response time and more lives and properties will be saved.
Yeah. So, hey, Barrister. So, Barrister K here has typed out a very lengthy one. He says, we have seen and heard several complaints from the Ghana National Fire Service regarding inadequate machinery and tools to combat fires. Now, they often report having insufficient equipment or that the equipment they have is weak. How does the service receive new machines and what is the maintenance culture like? We want to understand the situation to avoid unfairly criticizing the service.
All right. I think this is a legitimate question. How do we receive equipment? It is the sole responsibility of government to give us these equipment. And as and when we make our request, and then government has the funding, he does that. So, in this sense, like I indicated, before the exit of the ex-Wal government, we had 3 packages that they were working on. It got to the value for money stage. When this administration also took over, we've made our case known to them. So we are in wait for ultra-modern, state-of-the-art fire and rescue equipment so that we can serve the good people of Ghana. But it does not mean that whilst we wait, the good people of this country, well-meaning philanthropists, corporate Ghana, cannot come to our aid. You know, we have these investments in this country, and these investments could be affected by fire and other related emergencies. So why sit and wait for government intervention, which may take a bit of time, but we can put ourselves together? Let's say in a new site, people are relocating to a new site. The owners of this property could come together in a real estate community. The real estate owner could also make provision for a fire station, procure a fire tender, or a rapid intervention vehicle. Like I indicated earlier on, elsewhere, people are doing this voluntarily just to support their fire department. But in Ghana, it's a different ballgame altogether. We are all waiting for government to respond. And if government is not responding, it means that they tend to blame us. So please, our doors are still open. Just be a responsible citizen. Let's try and then help our local fire department. You see, one painful thing is that throughout the whole year, during the Christmas, we made a passionate appeal for people, let's say politicians, affluent people within where they have a local fire department, to even go and just say, we thank you for saving our lives and safeguarding our property. Little calls were made. I mean, nobody even heeded to. But meanwhile, we are your heroes. We are not just your friends. We are just like Christ, who has been given the mandate to save your life and then your property. So I think it is about the education. Once we are able to intensify our effort, people get to understand our operations. I think for a long time, people have not really appreciated our effort in this country. But you see, the same people who do not appreciate our efforts and our commitment, they go about doing other benevolent acts to other sister securities. You see, they go and then help them out, provide them with utility vehicles. But the same people fail to neglect us, or they don't do any benevolent act to us. But they will set their own fire. They will create their own emergency. And irrespective of our challenge, maybe proximity issues, we come, they do not appreciate us. Oh, then they will begin to assault our men, destroy these same rickety vehicles that we are using to serve their interests. So sometimes I find it very difficult to understand the psychology of some of the people that we serve. So we would continue to appeal to them. But let me be quick to make this fact or this point that the Ghana National Fire Service is one of the key institutions in Ghana with high sense of maintenance culture. So if we were not responsible enough, we wouldn't be using fire trucks which should have been discarded, let's say 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and we are still maintaining them. It tells you that it is also putting a toll on our resources every little resource that we get, we spend a large chunk in maintaining these ones. So when we come and you attack the firemen, when we come and then you vandalize this vehicle, and then the vehicle is booked out of commission, whose vehicle should we bring to safeguard your life and probably your property when the next emergency call comes in? So please, the attacks on the firemen should stop. Very soon you will hear, we are going to issue out a very strong-worded statement on the attacks of firemen. We are going to catalog in recent years what Ghanaians have been doing to us. And we take a very strong exception to that. And many a times when we have even pursued legal action against these perpetrators, it ends up nowhere. So what is happening to our society? What is happening to us?
Yeah.
Why is it that somebody who is committed to saving your life, after setting your own fire, you will go ahead, you will not even call the person early, the person would also sacrifice and come at the beckon of your call, and then you decide to attack the person?
Yeah.
What kind of behavior is that? So if you were in our shoes and we were treating you like this, how would you feel?
Yeah.
So please, we condemn the attacks and the assaults on our men. It is never in our culture to be doing that. So those who are doing that, we will still come at you. And we dare the media to condemn this act. You see, many a times it happens, but the media also do not find time and space to be able to condemn these acts. And it is happening.
Okay.
When a firefighter even assaults somebody, when we go to the extent of, let's say, attacking or defending ourselves and somebody should get injured, see how the media will come at us.
Yeah.
But we are in this country, we've had series of attacks on firemen, and no media house, journalists are keeping quiet and all that. When are we going to wait until a firefighter dies before we begin to make noise about these things? So please, let us stop attacking firefighters. We are doing a lot just to save lives and property, and we don't deserve this kind of negative behavior.
Not at all. So here at Clog TV, we vehemently condemn the attacks on fire service personnel who come to our aid, regardless of the time they come there. We are vehemently condemning this. Please, beautiful Ghanaian citizens, please do not vent your frustrations on our Ghana Fire Service personnel just because they did not get there early enough. They are facing enough challenges. Let's be grateful that they are there to come and save us and safeguard our property as well. So yes, Clock TV, we condemn this. I have done my part. So now we have one more question here. Okay, no, actually, okay, so this one is some fans for the Ghana National Fire Service. This one says, I want to use this opportunity to say a big thank you to the Ghana National Fire Service for the massive work they are doing. And this is from John Elom from Ashaiman, Lebanon, Zone 3. So aside some people attacking fire service personnel, we also appreciate you. Now, this is from Wisdom in Sekondi. He says, good morning, madam. Is it not prudent for the fire officers placed at our marketing centers, other than waiting for them? I think, okay, so he's asking if it is not rather prudent to place fire officers at the marketing centers rather than being called upon from some other area. So maybe
all right, so
vantage points.
This is an initiative that we have always been doing. Quite recently, we put out a release that we're going to intensify these efforts. So that is still underway. Currently, we are doing market patrols from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. the next day. Okay. And we are doing that to be able to forestall these fires that do occur, especially in the evening. You know, most of these market fires occur late in the evening where people have left and all that. So we want to be able to deal with that. And then also, there are other markets that we have fire posts that we are even thinking of sending in rapid intervention vehicles when we receive them. And there are others that we don't have the market posts, like Kantamanto. We don't have a market post there. So it is part of the conversation that we're going to have with them so that they will create a space for us so that we can be there 24/7, where we can engage with the market folks, the traders, and then create the needed awareness, ensure that they put in place adequate safety measures so as to be able to prevent these fires from occurring.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, let's be reminded, the Ghana National Fire Service vehemently condemns the attacks. Clock TV, we also condemn the attacks on their personnel. It's time for a quick break. When we come back, the phone lines will be open so you can call and then ask your questions. Please do well to keep your suggestions also decorous and ask your questions in a decorous manner. Please do not try to blame any of the fire service personnel for the delays. They are already facing a lot of challenges. We will be right back. Stay tuned. And you're welcome back to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the KOKO Digest Morning Show, and we are having our main discussion with Divisional Officer Grade 2 in the person of Mr. Desmond Aka from the Ghana National Fire Service, and we are discussing the Rising Fire Disasters Part 2. Now, the phone lines are open, so you can call and ask your questions from the phone number displayed on your screens. You can also send your WhatsApp comments to our WhatsApp number, which will also be displayed on your screens, or you can send them to our YouTube and Facebook live stream, and we will read them out loud to you. So I think, back to the conversation, I think you were talking about the fact that sometimes the people give directions and then the directions are not accurate. So do you also think that it is our lack of having adequate information on our neighborhoods? Let's say, like, without, you see how we have the Google Maps, people don't have access to those things, the literacy rate, so maybe people cannot really send a location. Or do you have a WhatsApp number that, you know, I can just quickly send my location that this is the place that has been ravaged by fire? Is there an issue like that?
Yes, you know, we need to be proactive and responsible citizens as much as possible. You know, wherever you are, even though it may be that you are not tech savvy and therefore you may not be able to make use of GPRS or Ghana Post address system and what have you. But there are landmarks.
Okay.
These are physical landmarks to wherever you live or you work.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you are given direction, you can use them. There could be a popular school, there could be a popular joint spot or a junction, or like any other common place within or nearer to that place that you can use as your reference point or as a landmark, so that when you call us, you give us. We also have our dedicated number, which is also on WhatsApp, that you can call us at any point in time if you want to kind of reach out to us. If you are calling our emergency number and you are not reaching out to us, you can also send us a WhatsApp, and then quickly we can respond. So that number is readily available. 050.
Yes. Let's have the number 050
960
960
87 44.
44
050
050
960
960
87 44.
So this is the WhatsApp number for the Ghana National Fire Service. So if you have any issues, you can also text them there. You can send your location quickly, and then they can promptly come to your aid.
And then one good thing that we have also brought to light is the fact that we have a television station.
Yes.
And that is purposely for creating awareness on the dangers of fire and the need for people to commit to fire safety. And that TV is on the free-to-air. It's a free-to-air channel that can be accessed on a digital platform or on our television. So once you watch that television, you are enlightened on certain things that you ought not to do in order to invite fires on your premises. So we would want to use your medium to kind of tell Ghanaians that that is also available, so that they can watch, and at any point in time, if there's any emergency, they could reach out to us. on that platform as well.
So would the Ghana National Fire Service also be open to collaborating with other media houses to churn out the same content you also churn out on your channel?
We are ever ready.
Okay.
We are ever ready. In times past, we have done so well with Media General, multimedia, and a couple of other media houses. So we are also prepared to also partner with Clock TV, so as to be able to go into this.
I'm sure conversations will be planned and undertaken very soon, so that Clock TV can also be bringing our viewers some fire safety measures to undertake. So yes, as you can see on your screens, the fire service number, the WhatsApp number for the Ghana National Fire Service is displayed on your screens. Please do well to take note of it so that you're not found wanting in a catastrophic situation. So in situations where there are story buildings on fire, like in the movies, are our Ghana National Fire Service personnel equipped to handle such an issue?
Right. So it depends on the number of floors. Quite recently, we received 2 hydraulic platforms. These are fire engines which are capable of helping us to reach up to the 17th floor. So any building in Ghana which is up to that floor, we could handle. We also have the turntable ladders, which could also help us to reach up to the 8th floor. So these are the equipment that we have. But notwithstanding, these high-rise buildings are of importance to us, and therefore, before we allow them to be completed, we ensure that adequate safety measures and fire protection measures are put in place. So even without these hydraulic platforms, even without the turntable ladders, these buildings have fire protection mechanisms or measures in place, such as risers, sprinkler system, hose reels, and what have you, where we can easily connect our appliances to and fight fire and then do rescue at any point in time or at any floor level. So we are not much worried when it comes to high-rise structures, just that we would wish that we are more resourced with firefighting drones. There are certain heights when you are committing human beings. I mean, it becomes risky. The dangers in that, if somebody should fall from that height, I mean, it's very difficult for that person to survive. So if we have firefighting drones, that could go to whatever length or height and then deal with whatever fire situations there. If we also have air fighters, let's say air rescuers and air fighters, we could be able to also reach higher heights and then effectively manage whatever incident that confronts us. So the possibility is endless. What we want Ghanaians to do is for them to do more advocacy, because the issue is that if the fire service is not well resourced, if we have challenges with our equipment and PPEs and all that, and we can't save your life and safeguard your property from the ravages of fire, then what are we doing? So it behoves on every Ghanaian to be more responsive and then to do a lot more advocacy, just as we have been, or we did for some other institutions in Ghana. Oh, Akron high. So we need this particular infrastructure. So we should be able to tell our leaders, our political leaders, because we voted for them. We gave them the power. It is our responsibility to demand from them whatever it's needful or whatever we must get to be able to serve your interest. So if you keep quiet and at the end of the day, your property is gutted by fire, we come there and you put the blame on us that we did not respond on time. We came with rickety tools and fire engines. You're not doing yourself any good. So we want Ghanaians to be responsive enough this time round. Now that the fires are destroying our property, what are we telling our leaders? What are we telling our local assembly? This is the time we need to tell them that the fire service needs to be adequately resourced. They need new fire engines. They need the hydrants, the water hydrants, to be working.
And service stations at
You see,
the district
they need
level.
more fire stations closer to us. So if we keep quiet and we suffer, and you come and blame us, then we are not doing ourselves any good. Okay. So please, Ghanaians, let us do a lot more advocacy. Call on our leaders. If we have to put pressure on them, put pressure on them so that they can resource us to be able to serve your interests. If we don't do that and we always want to sit aloof and put the whole blame on the Ghana National Fire Service, you are not doing yourself any good.
All right. So the phone lines are opened and the phone number is on your screens, as you can see. So please do well to call, and please refrain from calling the WhatsApp number. That is strictly for WhatsApp. Send your comments to our WhatsApp number via text, via WhatsApp, and also to our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. So we've spoken about some of the challenges, but I haven't asked about your personnel. Do you have challenges regarding your personnel, maybe inadequate personnel and things like that?
Yes, currently we are doing, in terms of the Ghanaian population, we are doing one fireman is to a little over 2,000 Ghanaians.
Wow. So one fireman?
Yes, one fireman, based on our current population.
Okay.
So ideally, internationally, we are supposed to be doing one fireman or one firefighter is to 800 people. But per our current numbers, it means that government needs to employ more, of which in the past 7 or 8 years or so, the ex-Wal administration shore up our number, almost half of our current number. They added almost half to our, it's like they almost doubled our number by employing over 7,000 workforce, and that is good. But we believe that the current administration would also have to employ more so that we could be able to meet that ratio, so that we can be able to serve the good people of this country very well.
We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning. You're welcome to KOKO Digest Morning Show. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Hello, please. My name is Paul. Calling from Kaswa.
Okay, thank you for calling. So, what is your question? Hello? Hello?
Please, my question is, I have a school at Kaswa, and the last time, NADMU personnel came to inspect. Hello?
Yes, hello, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, hello? Hello?
NADMU personnel came to inspect our fire certificate. So I was asking whether NADMU personnel are legible in inspecting the fire certificate and fire extinguishers.
Okay.
Right. That is also a good question. NADMU is also responsible for disaster prevention and its management. So it is not out of place if they do that. But technically, it is the responsibility of the Ghana National Fire Service to do that. So we will call on our station and the fire command in the Kaswa enclave to check on that, to work hand in hand with the NADMO authority so that they don't venture into areas which are not supposed to ideally or technically be in their domain to do that. So well noted, we will deal with that.
Okay, so considering NADMO is also for disaster management and prevention, is it not within their jurisdiction to also make those kinds of checks, not only specific to the Ghana National Fire Service, but all other kinds, considering they handle...
You see, NADMO only comes in when there is disaster.
Okay.
When there is an emergency, we are the authorized institution or agency to be able to deal with that.
Okay.
So if there is no disaster is where our resources, the fire service resources, cannot deal with the situation at hand.
Okay.
And that is where NADMO would have to mobilize additional tools and equipment and even personnel to be able to deal with the situation.
Okay.
When we have not gotten to that stage, they shouldn't venture into our purview where we have to deal with the situation.
All right. We have another caller on the line. Hello. Okay, it seems we lost the person. Some people still keep calling the WhatsApp number. The phone number for the call is right on your screen, displayed on your screen. So please do well to call that number and not the WhatsApp number. There is a difference in the number. So please take note and, adhere. So this is from... Hey, this is from Mr. Kwesi Mensah. He says, I'm listening to the angles of conversation from the beginning, and what support or resources does the Ghana National Fire Service need from the government or the public to effectively prevent and respond to fire disasters in Ghana?
I think
you've touched on some of them.
We need fire tenders.
All of them.
We need fire tenders. The fire tenders are in different sizes and types.
Okay.
So we need the water tankers or the water fire engines. We also need the foam fire tenders. We also need the multi-purpose fire tenders. Okay. We also need rescue vans, the turntable ladders, the hydraulic platform, so as to be able to reach high-rise structures. We also need water tankers to be able to have enough water to be able to handle any fire situation in this country. We also need utility vehicles mounted with PA systems to embark on public fire education. We need firefighting motorbikes so that if there is a vehicular fire on our major highways and we need to navigate through traffic, the motorbikes come in handy. We also need rapid intervention vehicles to be able to respond to road crashes and then fire situations on our major highways. We need PPEs for our workforce, especially the firefighters and rescuers, to be able to save lives and then safeguard rescue lives and then also safeguard property. In terms of welfare,
please let's hold on. We have a caller on the line, so we'll come back to the things the fire service needs. Hello? Hello, good morning.
Hello. Yes, good morning.
You're welcome to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, madam.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Please, my name is Felix. Please, I'm calling from Kosodia.
Okay. Thank you, Felix, for calling. Could you speak up a little, please?
I wanted to ask, as the man was saying, he said the civilians or the citizens of the country should keep pressuring our ministers, our politicians, so that, please, as the man was speaking, when the man was speaking, he said, we should keep, as we keep saying that we are being robbed, we are being threatened, we need this and this from other departments, and they give it to us. So that we should do the same thing to the fire service, the Ghana National Fire Service. I was wondering, don't the politicians know that the Ghana National Fire Service, they need those things so that they give them adequately, so that like foreign countries like America and those things, the work that the fire service does, it is a lot. So they adequately equip them. Don't our politicians know that? And two, madam, one thing I want to ask, I've been in Ghana for a while. Most of the time, there's this fire here and there, and they say the fire service people conduct an investigation into the matter. But often, we don't hear anything from it, like these market issues. And we want to know, is it some of them, are they politically motivated or they happen on their own? Thank you, madam.
Thank you, too. Thank you for your question. So this is a quite loaded question for you.
Let me start with this question from this angle. Every fire that we attend or we manage, we investigate. And at the end of the day, we submit the report to the owner of the premises.
Okay.
So if it's a market, it goes to the market managers or the local assembly responsible for that particular market. And it behooves on them to make the findings and the recommendations public. It is not our responsibility to do that. What we do is that we use the causes of these fires in our educational campaigns. Okay. That is how we are able to tell you that unattended cooking, maybe illegal wiring connections over age cables are causes of fires in this country. But we are not specific. So that is that. And with the politician not knowing that they need to equip us, we have made our case known to them. And they are also taking care of all other institutions.
Yeah.
So sometimes if the pressure does not come from you, they will not kind of attend to us. So once we mount the pressure, then it means that they will hasten the processes and then give heed to our request. So that is why we are asking that. It's not as if they don't know or we don't make our case to them. We do. But if the pressure comes from you, when there is a public outcry, they tend to listen and then hasten their processes to get us whatever we need.
All right.
And then in terms of the welfare of our personnel, apart from the workman compensation that every government worker enjoys, we don't have a dedicated insurance. So the people that you assault, your heroes that you never praise, they don't have a dedicated insurance. So sometimes it does not motivate us to even give of our best. But as committed and dedicated as we are, we have always beckoned to your call. So it is high time you would also make noise that your unsung heroes, your number one firefighters would also be provided with this kind of insurance to be able to help them to give up their best.
Okay, so we have another caller on the line. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. I want to ask that I traveled and left my car.
Could you please speak up a little, please?
I want to know if I can use it again.
Pardon?
I left my gas for about 2.5 years. I traveled.
Okay.
And when I came, I want to use it. I want to ask if I would like something to use it.
Okay.
So what you can do is that because it has been a long while since you used it, send it to the filling point. Let them check it for you. If they check and it is well good, you can go and then use it.
Okay. All right. So we were talking about the needs of the fire service. I think I also have a question regarding that. So has the fire service sort of drawn a plan that, maybe we have 276 constituencies in the country. I don't have the actual number of the districts. Has the Ghana National Fire Service drawn a plan that, we have this number of districts and each district needs at least one, fire station there, and given that to the government to try to do their best? Maybe each government that comes would be able to try to provide and meet the needs of each.
My dear sister, we have all these things in black and white.
Okay.
And it has been served to various governments. So we are expecting that they make do with the provisions in those documents so that they help us to provide fire cover in all these constituencies.
Okay. So this has been a very insightful conversation, and I would like to take your closing remarks before we wrap up.
Right. So I would say that fire management is a shared responsibility. Let us all play our part in becoming worthy ambassadors. Keep the fires at bay. Call the fire service on time on our emergency numbers 112 192. Stop pranking us so that we can respond to your call as quickly as possible so as to save more lives and property. Be a friend to the fire service. Go to the nearest fire station. Have a chat with them. Whatever thing that you can also do to support them, just do. And then at the end of the day, we'll be able to safeguard more lives and properties.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Divisional Officer Grade 2, Mr. Desmond Aka, for joining us here. I'm sure we will collaborate with the Ghana National Fire Service to teach our viewers how to prevent fires or even manage any small fires that they encounter. Thank you so much once again. And a big thank you to you, our cherished viewers. Thank you for your comments and your calls, your submissions. Thank you so much for joining us here. A big thank you to our management and sponsors. A big thank you to the production team. A big thank you to everybody that joined hands to make this show a success. We are most grateful to you, and we will see you again on Thursday morning, bright and early. Please do have an amazing day ahead.
clogged TV. Beyond the policy.